Good day and welcome back here to episode 37. So we're back on the police special. Today we're going to take off the outside fairing and light bar. So for our fairing, we've got 3 screws here in the top of our outside of our fairing, which also holds in our windshield. If you wanted to ever change the windshield, you just got to back these screws out and then the windshield slotted. So as you can see, we haven't got, I haven't come up with an idea yet for my fender. That'll come, so if I was doing this and my fender was on, I'd put either a towel or something over top of the fender to protect it so no tools or the fairing and whatnot would fall down. So I'm also going to take off the light bar. So the light bar is held on the side by 2 Torx right there. So to take the fairing off, it's a T25. I can't remember what these ones are, but nonetheless, going to do the fairing first. And then the other bolts on the screws on the inside, there's one here, and that's just below the speaker. Just below the speaker, there's one there. And then I've got the light shining right now. I'll see if I can sneak the camera in. I do apologize there. Let me see about that. So there's one in between the fuel tank and the bottom of the fork leg. So here's our fuel tank, there's our fairing, going right in and under to the right on both sides. So there's one by the speaker on both sides, and then down in by the fork leg between the fuel tank and then our shroud where our switches and our ignition is. So that's where they are. So I'm going to get the camera set up here, and well, I can probably do a little bit here by hand. So we're going to start with this one here. I like to do the inside ones first because it's the outside fairing we're taking off. So that being said, what happens is if we did the outside ones first and we came to the inside, well, the fairing can just fall right off. And the only thing holding it is the headlight harness for the headlight. So we like to, make sure that it's just not going to fall. And like I say, I got my front fender off, so I'm not too worried about that. A lot of times people do this, they'll turn the steering to the left or the right. I've got it on the hoist, so I don't have that option. So what I do now is I just got a magnetic tray here. I just drop my screws down in the magnetic tray, and then I know where they are. So this one is difficult, so you may not be able to see it. I may have to utilize a different, this screwdriver is definitely too long for down in there. I'll go over to the other side. Again, this model's a 2009. So depending on the bagger you have or are working on, there could be different locations or different types of heads on the bolts. So, you definitely look in your manual, see what you guys got. Sometimes guys change these Torx to a Phillips, and again, that's up to them. Just make sure it's the same thread pitch, and so on and so forth. But besides that, whatever you guys decide, definitely use. So I got the 2 by the speakers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my camera over into the stationary stand here and go get a smaller screwdriver or a torque screwdriver to get to the ones underneath the fairing right in here. So I'll be right back. So we're back here. I've got a shorter T25. Like I say, it's not in a good spot. It's in between the fuel tank, the lower part of our switch gauges and everything. Sometimes, guys forget to put this back in or don't put it in. And the reason they do that is, they're changing a stereo because it's in a bit of a bad spot. So I just got it out. You may have heard it hit the ground there. There it is there. So I'm going to put it with the other screws. -6 today out there and windy. Real real windy. This side's even tougher because clutch cable, everything else is being passed through. Gotta kind of move everything out of the way. So as I look, this one's actually missing. That doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. So now we'll come to the front. We'll bring it up a bit. So now I'm going to tackle the 3 across the front. Again, just a T25. I'm not going to run them all the way out to start. Just loosen them. That will bring my windshield. Should bring my windshield out. Most of them are slotted, so you don't have to take them right out, but maybe this one. So I'm going to take off each corner one, and then our middle screw will be holding it in place. I got to take these out all the way. I just wanted to show you how you could do the windshield without taking them all out, but I got to take the fairing off anyway, so we're going to just follow suit and take them all out. So it's still not coming out, so it must be through bolted. So now I'm going to take the last one off here. So actually, as you can see, they are through bolted, or excuse me, not through bolted. So I should have been able to sneak that out, but for some reason I couldn't. That's a tinted aftermarket Harley one. You can see it's got a little bit of a lip on it. And that's to deflect the wind over your head. That's in great shape. I can sell that. Like I say, the key is to sell things that you are taking off, and then that can help fund the rest of the project. So it is acting like there's a screw on the other side. I'll leave the camera going and leave you guys there. I'm going to come over here and put my finger in there, and I did not feel the other mounting screw. But it's definitely staying together like it's there. Like they say, it's tight quarters. Yeah, the screw's definitely missing. Definitely missing. Take another look, like I say, no editing or anything, just how it plays out sometimes. Could just be a harness, but it feels a lot more than that holding it in, like an actual screw. So. Tough to see, especially with the lowers on, to get our head up in there. Oh, I do see it. I do see it. So like I say, they're tight in there, so you really gotta look for it in this side because your clutch cable comes down. So you should be able to see the fairing wiggling a little bit there now as I'm loosening it. So like I say 3 in the windshield, 1 on each side by the speaker, and then 2 down in by the fork legs. I believe I got it there. Yep, yeah. Pull it out there. So it fell. Now I gotta tilt it forward because I have my spotlights on. And now the headlight harness, I got it disconnected. So I'm reaching over from the front. So I got it disconnected. And there we go. So there it is. So here's my headlight harness. That went on to the headlight, and that's all that was holding it on. So we've got that off now. So that's the outside of our fairing. And a nice headlight and everything. So this was for our headlight. I'm just going to look for that bolt that I dropped there for the fairing. It landed on the lift. That was the one that was underneath the fork leg there. So you can kind of see, I'm going to view the camera. I'll zoom it in, lower you down a little bit. So you can see there. So right here and right there are where the screws, these screws go from below the fairing by the fuel tank and the fork leg. So you can just see my finger poking through. That's where the screw goes through, and that's where the 2 bottom ones that I was having a little bit difficult time because it's tough to get in there. So now I'm gonna raise the camera back up here. Probably keep you, it's tough. I got a full shop here. It's snowing and cold as anything outside there. So like I say, I like to pull things outside, but it's tough when the weather's like this. So now I have to disconnect the harness for my running lights and blinkers. So what I'm going to do, because I'm actually removing the complete, running lights and blinkers completely, because I'm putting a road glide kit on here. So I want to make sure when I'm taking my harness apart, I'm observing what's going on. What I mean by that is I'm marking and labeling things. So I'm gonna grab my tape here. I got my masking tape, I just gotta grab my pen. So here's my masking tape and my pen. I like to write on the tape first, so I'm gonna write F R B, front right blinker. Pull it off, and I'm going to put it on the wires that go to the pigtail for my front right left blinkers. That's this one here. So I'm going to disconnect it, which I just did. Pull the harness down. So you might be able to see here, this wire right here. It's being, you see there's a union in it, and it's being fed over here to the other side, and then it's being locked in with the headlight harness. You can see there's a union there. Well, the reason why that was done, these would have been the lights for the police bike, which whether were blue, red and blue, white, I'm not exactly sure exactly what color they would have been, but the person has put regular clear lights in it, spliced in off the main power for the headlight light, and then put a union from light to light. So when the headlight was on, both spotlights were on at all times. So, that's okay if you like that. Myself, I'm changing it to a road glide, so I don't need that. So I'm gonna probably be cutting this line. I'm gonna go over though to the other side and undo the spotlight, because we also have our blinkers there. So I'm gonna go over to the other side. I'm gonna pre-write on my tape, front F, L, B. And I have to know that because when I go to the other side, or when I go to install the other fairing, I have to know where my blinker wires are. So if I don't know where my blinker wires are, well, now I'm testing every little thing. So again, it's a harness right here. Undo that, pull it through. There it is. Now I'm going to mark that with my tape. Front left blinker. And then now I can pull that harness down and through. And then, like I say, here's our wire that they plumbed into our headlight, going from side to side. So I'm going to cut it on this side. Here's my side cutters. I'm going to cut it. Of course, I always leave myself room in case there's a reason or I need it again. So, I cut it a couple inches away. I can pull this one through now. There it is. Pull it down. We want to keep our headlight one how it is, so we'll keep that there. So now, I'm going to take off the spotlights. I'm going to take them off. Just going to let that hang there. So I got this side off. Again, these are just Torx right there. I'm going to hold this for support. There it is. That's all it is. So again, these are notched. You slide it up under those screws. So this screw I didn't have to take all the way out. I could have left it in on the fork like that, and I just slide it up and under, and then this one just goes in, and then you tighten them down. So there's your passing lamps right there and your blinkers. Again, we'll put that up for sale. Help fund the project. I'm going to undo the rest of these screws because we've got to remove all this because we're going to put a road glide front end on it. So that's just our chrome shield that goes underneath. Again, the same two Torx. So now, before we go any further, I'm going to have to start labeling all these wires now, because all the harnesses are going to go back in. So I'm going to move it over. So you're going to notice I've got gauges, I have a radio, I've got two speakers. So all that needs to be replumbed back into the road glide fairing. So I have to now, oh, don't forget all my hand controls are going through as well. I do have other handlebars that are going to be going on, but all I'm saying is I'm going to have to undo all this on this side, undo each plug, and then when I put the neck on for the road glide, it comes, all the wires are going to have to come through there. So I'm going to take a break here because it's not going to be fun watching me label everything. But I'm going to label all those wires And then once I get them labeled, I can undo them. And then once I get them undone, then I can shut this light off here that's glaring into the camera. Once I do get them all labeled, then I'll be able to remove the inner fairing. So once I get them all labeled, we'll come back to you again. Like I say, all I'm going to be doing is walking up to it and unplugging it and being like, okay, that one's going there. I put my tape around it. I come to my radio unit. Okay, this is the main radio harness. You know, it's no fun, so there's no reason to wanting to be paying attention to it, but I'll do my best. And you want to make sure that you put everything back the way it was, because it can get overwhelming with all these wires. And then with the road glide neck that's going to go on, it can get confusing because everything's got to come through the center and then back around. So I will be back to you, but so we'll call this part 1 of removing fairing, and we'll utilize part 2 once I get everything labeled to remove. Thanks a lot for today.